creating my first tutorial here for you today, and we are going to get started with chest hooping. It is one of the most popular and envious kind of movements on body that I've come across and that I've been requested for. So bear with me. There are several different ways to approach this, and they're going to be catered to individual body types, preferences, flexibility, mobility, all of that. So we're going to start from the nitty-gritty basics and build it up to smoothen it out. So let's get started. I'm actually going to get started without my hoop because one of the first things we want to get comfortable with is that chest isolating movement. So I'm going to turn sideways here for you so you can see what's going on. Keeping my shoulders over my hips, I'm going to thrust my rib cage forward and back. And do that a few times. And then again, we're going to take it side to side. So I'm moving my rib cage, not my shoulders. So the difference would be this is pulling my shoulders forward and back versus my chest forward and back. Okay? So once you get comfortable with that, you're going to smooth it out. I'm a lefty, so I'm going to start moving from right to left. If you hoop to your right, you're going to want to move left to right. And notice how my hips are staying perfectly steady. Now that's going to move because the second part of this is what's happening with our lower body. So instinctually, a lot of people really keep their feet planted and focus mostly on the chest. And although that will work, it could cause some issues long term if you want to be able to chest hoop for several minutes. And you can actually injure yourself. I've done this before where I kept my hips in place, got overly enthusiastic with my chest, pinched back, and pinch the muscles between my ribs. So take it from me. Learn my lessons, make your own mistakes, but try not to injure yourself in the process here. So we're going to keep our feet moving throughout until you get really comfortable with this. And you can start with either a basic pivot where your one foot, so for me again it's my left, is holding steady while the other one moves around it. Or you can go for a triangle step or diamond step, where you're actually going to start by taking the left foot back, right foot forward, and you're kind of waltzing, right? So keep this going, see how easy this movement is, right? So try that without your hoop first, and then we can bring the hoop in. The third big factor is the hoop itself. Now you notice I've got two hoops over here. This is my go-to standard practice hoop. This is my chest and shoulder, hips and thighs hoop. It's my Gentle Giant. It's a lightweight polypro taped up with nothing but gaffer. So it's super grippy, and it's lightweight, and it's flexible, so it's not going to beat up those glands underneath your armpits and stuff. And for those of you who are not quite as busty, it'll be a little easier to keep up on your chest. So until you get comfortable moving it up and down, which we'll approach here in just a moment, go ahead and start it up on your chest. As soon as you release, you're going to pick one of those steps and start to coordinate that step with that chest isolation, right? So that's what it looks like. I use the diamond step and I do a full rotation with my chest. Now, it's not that easy for you at first. That's perfectly understandable. Obviously, I've been doing this a little bit longer. It took me probably a good year to get really comfortable with chest hooping. So, initially, if you were to use a pivot step and just push front to back, this is what that would look like. So I'm just pushing front to back and using a pivot step. It also works. It makes me a little more winded though, so I'm not able to move my feet quite as freely, and I'm not able to talk through it quite as easily. But if that works for you, then use that. The other one is you can use that side to side motion, again with either step. So I just do it side to side and a pivot. The goal is to use your feet to help take a lot of that effort out of the chest. If I were to do it just standing still, I have to work really hard to keep this hoop going. And that leads you to a greater risk of injury, and we really don't want that. Again, take it from me, if you bruise those muscles in your ribs, you will be forever angry at yourself because you can't breathe and everything like that. So let's give this another try. I'm going to use the triangle step with the full rotation again and try to slow it down for you. So getting it going on my chest however I need to, and I'm going to step back with my left foot and forward with my right, and use that momentum to take a lot of that effort out of my chest. I am barely having to press through the chest now. And I know what y'all are asking, well, how do I get it up there, right? Okay, well, of course, we want to be able to get it up there. So if you start with it on your waist, if you've ever done speed hooping or anything like that, you're going to use that boost of momentum to help get the hoop up. So I'm hooping at my normal speed here. If I speed up that pace, you notice how the hoop lifts a little. For me, I'm a little bustier, so I have to duck under to get my boobs under. For those of you who don't have that problem, you should be able to just speed it up to the point where it slowly raises up your chest. The other thing you can use is use an arm to help guide it up. So this time I'm going to slip my arm under and help press the hoop up and pull that arm out when I have the moment. Okay? The other thing that you can do, which I actually learned by accident, is if you know angles. So if you bob your legs and get an angle going and give it a little extra boost, you can get it up there. Although then you have to work a little harder to balance it out, but it does work. And again, notice how I'm constantly using my feet to help take a lot of the effort out of my chest. And then as you get comfortable with that, with your big gentle giant, you can slowly transition back down to your standard hoop. So again, bringing it on the waist, speeding it up, tucking my boobs under, and using my foot steps to take a lot of that pressure off my ribs. So that is the various different ways that I have learned chest hooping. Would love to give credit where it's due, so definitely check out my Facebook page. That's www.facebook.com/Belisama Hoops, BELISAMA Hoops. And I have given credit to all the folks who have helped me get this along the years. It's like I said at the beginning of this, no one way is going to work for everybody. I have actually integrated 2 or 3 different methods to make it work for me. I hope this helps, and happy hooping!